5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're live with Neve.
All right. Happy Friday. How's everybody doing today? Welcome to the Live with Neve show. All right. Gosh, it's a cloudy day here in the New York area. It looks the same as Red Rocks did behind me. It's like hot, kind of warmer than it's been, but life is good. So today I've got myself and my co-host and sidekick, Mandi, the original Twisted Ginger from the band Twisted Ginger, who will be playing, and we'll tell you all about that when we have her on. And so today we're looking at some, let's see what kind of good news we have today, if there's anything here. Let me see. Teacher accused of threatening to shoot Barron Trump after traveling to Florida school. Okay, peeps, let's not get too wacky out there. Leave the kids alone. We really don't, we were trying our best not to harass Chelsea Clinton for her looks, so let's not be getting on Barron just for being a kid. You don't like his dad, that's fine, but don't be a psycho, all right? You know you're going to end up in trouble. So that's, let's see, what other good news? Customers and consumers showing signs of stress. Imagine that. I can't think of why. And Carlos Santana says trans people should stay in the closet. He was then castigated immediately and has since retracted it. And he still said he thinks that, and I agree with him. I don't think guys who are men who are not altered, so to speak, should not be playing on girls' sports. I see it that way, and nothing's going to change my mind. So don't bother trying. I don't have anything against trans people or anybody else, but if you're a guy, I just don't think you should be competing in women's sports or in the ladies' room, and that's just the way I see it. But you don't have to agree with me. Hate mail, remember, goes to the front, so if you hate the idea, go ahead and send us some hate mail. Maybe you'll change our mind, but not likely. Zillow offers 1% down payment to attract more home buyers. So Zillow is out there trying to sell homes in this crazy overpriced environment. Fox debate viewership blew Tucker's Trump interview out of the water. Okay, well, that happens, I guess. We have a possible auto strike looming. Gannett is being charged over reverse racism. In other words, talking bad about people who are not of color. Although I think I'm kind of a colored guy. I'm a pasty white boy. What can I tell you? And I'm also a Native American. I'm an indigenous peoples from New Jersey. I'm indigenous to Wyckoff and Halden. And here I go. I'm trying to look at anything that's really good news, and there's not. The orcas that have been attacking boats in certain places, it turns out they're following a fad. I'm not sure what's up. I see something in the background. I hope you guys are doing okay and back in the studio. But at any rate, let's see what Mandi's up to. Let's have a little bit of a woman's touch here. Good morning, afternoon.
It's morning?
Well, I said I'm going to take a 20-minute nap. And that was like, and I took it, but I woke up and it was just right at 3:30. I said, excellent. I got on.
That's funny.
And as soon as I got on, I think Brenda and them beat me to getting on. So nonetheless,
great timing.
Fun. Yeah.
Great timing. I remember that one day I was sending you messages. I was like, are you sleeping? I think you're sleeping.
Yeah, remember that day? I was sleeping. It was terrible.
You woke up, your hair's
oh my gosh. Yeah. So I'm trying to go ahead and get them a link while we're speaking here. Let me see. Add to queue, share the playlist. Share, here we go. Okay, Deems, we're sending it right on. Copy. And so, people, while you're watching, I'm just sending over our crew, wait for their audience to get to see us. All right, we'll go over here to Facebook. And while I'm doing this, Mandy, what's going on in your world? Let's let you talk about your gig for a minute while I get this.
All right. So we have Twisted Ginger is playing at Rocky's in Rahway, New Jersey tomorrow, 9 o'clock. 3 sets of face melting and booty shaking.
Booty shaking?
That's
Wow.
right. Booty shaking, rock and roll. The stuff that makes you like, it's like you just can't. You can't help but, get your buns a going.
That's it, man. You got to get those buns shaking. I mean, tell you.
It
It's always a
happens.
good thing.
It happens.
It does. It's sort of, it just gets a hold of you. And then one minute you're sitting there. Next minute, you're out there busting moves, dancing with the black people, and all hell's breaking loose. I love it, man. I always notice all my black friends, they look at me and they're like, how can you be a drummer and dance so shitty? And I say, I never learned to dance because I was always on stage playing, watching all the goops in the audience. And I guess because I've watched so many people dance who maybe should take lessons. I'm just saying.
You probably, you maybe it's about feeling comfortable in your own skin. And I don't know, like maybe you talk trash about other dancers, so you're like, oh shit, people are looking at me, and you're like,
well, I definitely feel like a goof when I go out and I do it. Like the poor chick who's dancing with me, they always ask me and tell me, oh, you can't be that bad. And then by the time I'm done, they've got like no toenails. I'm like stumbling around.
nice.
And I look awkward, but it's okay. I'm willing to fight my fears. I figure everybody else is having a good time and not worried about what they look like.
It's just a matter of practice.
Yes, it is. And I have to work on it. It's one of those things you almost have to have lessons at to be any good. But so I hope Brenda and Deems, I see you guys in the back there. Did you get the link? Are we good? Right on. All right. Well, we've got some good entertainment on you folks. They'll be on with us shortly after the first break. Let's see. What am I doing? Well, I don't have the book here. Actually, I do. I'm going to give a quick pump out of my friend's book.
Whoa! You could see through it. What is that? Green? The label's
yeah, there's some green on the cover.
That's what's up.
You can see it, everybody. It's got lots of pictures. So for my fans who live in my hometown or in the area, Monmouth County, it's an excellent book. And John Schneider is an excellent and just super nice guy. He's really a great historian. He's an amateur. He got into this because he was asked to do a documentary for Monmouth County. I had one of my acting debuts in a drug-themed commercial. We were doing a commercial for the county of Monmouth regarding the stuff they give you Narcan if you overdose. So my friend and I went over to his house at like 9 o'clock. We had the fire department coming. We had the police. We had all the actors, and we're all sitting there. And the basic gist of it is my friend and I are a couple of rockers sitting around. We're getting blasted. We're snorting coke and drinking. And I can tell you that no cocaine was snorted, but we faked it. And we were smoking joints. And it was in the morning. So at the time, I was still drinking. It was that authentic. We were method acting. We got hammered and then did the movie scene. My friend just keels over in the middle of a heart attack. And then my friend, Nancy Kravis, you sweetheart, I don't know if you're watching, but I do recall at the time, it looked so real that she saw Jack laying on the floor dead and she actually got tears in her eyes. And while I was shaking him, trying to wake him up, and then it goes, the vignette switches to the authorities going, this could be prevented. Just say no, but if you can't, here's some Narcan. I'm of mixed feelings on Narcan. Yes, I do think it's great to give it to people, but I think when somebody's like has diabetes and they can't get their supplies affordably, and yet we have some of these junkies, we send the authorities out to revive them 5, 6, 7 times. And I guess my question for you people is how many times should someone who's determined to kill themselves, essentially, because they won't stop, how many times should they be revived? Is that something we can decide as a society? Is that something that is decided on the ground by the medical personnel? I don't know. I know this. If somebody has been, maybe perhaps the mechanism is if you've been revived 5 times, maybe we toss them into jail, a 90-day treatment program. That may be the answer. That's just me coming up with something that I have no idea if it makes sense, if it's a good idea or a bad idea, but um, people can
Yeah,
think
but you're
about it.
talking about pharmaceuticals too. So it's like there's all sorts of like, dealings in, the government, in business, in
Oh,
everything. That's why the that's why you can't get like the diabetes medicine like you can't get stuff like that. It's because they're
no,
all money grubbing,
and
baskets.
it's
Who
always
knows? Like
great.
maybe the EMTs have like a deal with Narcan. We don't know. Like
I don't know. Get a
we just
kickback.
don't
That would be
know.
great. You can get it anywhere. It's
Yeah,
free.
like that's what I mean.
And I'm of the mind that if it's free for drug addicts to be revived half a dozen times, I think that 6 times for me, that would be my arbitrary number. If I was a benevolent dictator, I'd say we're going to, or
And that's
you
still
can
a lot of
have,
times. That's a good amount.
that's a lot of time. My point is that if like my case, I fell down the stairs and had a whole bunch of train wreck going on in my life, and I quit. I just said, okay, this is getting too crazy and out of hand. So what happens is once you've quit, of course, you walk around going, damn, I can't have any fun, but you really can. And enough about that. My point is, if I fell down the stairs 6 times, I wouldn't expect my health insurance to pay for it, considering if I was wicked
Right.
drunk.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
I
like, where do you
gotcha.
draw the
Yeah,
line? You got a
yeah,
certain point of, you get so many tries. But at
yeah.
any rate, as far as good news, folks, I'm sitting here trying to find one story, and I don't know. We have a tropical storm bearing down on Florida. The new OJ, they're gonna have this Trump kangaroo court will be broadcast. So that, you know what, people, we are in for one hell of a shitstorm for the next couple of months. Until next October, it's just going to be madness. And I know a lot of you folks are going to be just out there going, what in the hell is going on? And remember, just don't watch too much news and don't let it get under your skin. If you start feeling upset about political people who don't agree with you, find something else to do because there's always going to be somebody that disagrees with you. And I don't know. I mean, we all don't get our way sometimes. There's people who are pissed off Trump got elected. There was people who are pissed off that President Biden's been elected. And my feeling is, this is what happens in America. Parties swing back and forth. And there's a lot of crazy on both sides. So don't be crazy, people. Just be happy, Do if everything's not ever going to be perfect for everybody at any given time. And now we're going to be going to a break, make a little cash money on the side here for the people who once in a while give us some money. And here we go from beautiful Ireland, a red fuck for the ages.
Like a melting flake of snow this year. I won't be sad to see it go.
Hi, I'm Darren F. Flynn, a singer-songwriter from Ireland, and I'm on Live with Neve.
I would have said it couldn't happen here. The people we
Ah,
There's some changes headed, like the Gulf Stream rising, like some
Carlton
gale that's
Wilkinson.
been blowing off this wild bird island shore. And I can't say where, and I don't know when, but some old door's been opened in the restless shade.
But wait, there's more.
Poor man sagging cigarette takes the subway home. Rich man folding old regret steps on the rundown.
One more. I'm Neil from Live with Neve. We have an exciting connection for our veterans, country music fans, and there is something for everyone. Gone Country Hats at GoneCountryHats.com. That's right, we've partnered with Gone Country Hats at GoneCountryHats.com. See you soon. And look, what better way to hide your camera than with a Gone Country hat? Look at these hats. And it is a fine looking hat. Tell you what. How about it, people? You want a good
Oh,
hat?
yeah.
It's great for when you get caught naked in somebody else's bedroom and you have to run down the street. You can cover your winky. Worked for me. Can I tell you, people? Anyhow, we have the wonderful, the talented Deems and Brenda, the Brenda B show. Good morning, guys. How are
Hi.
you?
Hi, good morning, guys. Nice to
How
see
you doing?
It's good to see
We're
you
doing
too.
great. Uh,
Well, I know that you've been so busy. You've been doing all kinds of stuff with work, and you've been traveling to Florida and all the things. And also, I wanted to ask you about your dog shelter thing you're working on.
yeah, actually, Deems and I have been rescuing animals since we've known each other. And
Hmm.
I had wanted to take it a step further and actually have a place where we could take them because they're not popular with the neighbors. So we
Uh,
actually, yeah, it's going to be one dog or one cat at a time. We're building right now. I have the plans ready to build, and
mhm.
hopefully I'll have it built by next year.
All
It's going
right.
to be
Well, I
called
like
One
that.
Dog at a Time, Neil. One
I
cat
love
at a
it.
time.
I think that's really great. I always I tend to trust animals, dogs, cats, horses, almost all of them more than most people I tend to meet. And what can I tell you? It's just the way it is. I find you rarely will find any betrayal involving animals, in you just don't see that. Um,
No, and
and
basically they treat you like you treat them.
well,
Same way I guess
exactly.
some people do.
And you show me a dog. I don't know if you've realized, but back when I was in high school, my parents owned boarding kennels in Florida,
Oh,
and
they
uh,
did.
and as a result, I worked at the kennel as a teenager, and then went and worked at the local vet that we had for about 10 years. Really loved my work there. Just I was still in the rock and roll mode, and here I am, 50 years later. But I've always, been a big animal guy, a supporter of animal rights and that type of thing. And while we're talking about that, people, I'm going to do my favorite rag on a company that seems like they're doing the good thing for our animals, but they're not. Do not give your money to PETA, okay? These people operate kill shelters, and I don't mean just kill. Approximately 60 to 70% of the animals that they pick up are euthanized, and that's just too much. It's a bad thing, and a lot of folks give money to them, not realizing that. But if you dig into it, if they want to call me up and rebut me on the air, I'll be glad. I have the data that shows, and they don't want to get into that argument with you, and it's kind of a bummer because they ostensibly, or most of us who've given money to them, it's because we think they're going to do right by these animals, but they really they have an anti-pet agenda. They don't want people to raise their own livestock, and those things are just they're too far-reaching. I understand they have their sense of propriety, but I have my right to eating people eating tasty animals, and I think there's nothing wrong if you're a meat eater. I know we used to raise our own beef and pigs and things like that in Florida, and that's how I learned how to be a redneck. Getting kicked by a horse, bit on the ass by a horse, stomped or hit by a ram, or having pigs run down the road, and I have to go get one, and I've never dealt with a pig in my life. I'm
Oh
16,
man.
and I grabbed it by the back legs after diving, getting my whole chest, my nipple almost ripped off. And picture me, I'm like 80 pounds soaking wet back then. I'm a big, tall, gangly fuck. And I got a hold of the pig and I'm not letting go. Thing is going louder than I've ever heard. Excuse me, pig calls are not easy. um, and my neighbors are watching. There's customers coming up our driveway and they see me with this panicked look, checking to see if my nipple's attached. I'm like, damn, this hurts. And they finally helped me, and I went and got a rope and dragged the animal backwards up to his pen and put him in. But I had a lot of experiences like that, and had a horse that my friend who was teaching me was an employee of my parents, and she decided that she would go ahead and give me riding lessons, and then they'd ride me into the trees in the orange grove. It was a lot of fun. But uh, getting back, I'm sorry, Brenda. You
No,
guys,
no,
I
but
think it's really,
to that
I think
point,
it's super.
uh, Neil, to
Hmm.
that point, I can relate to you about several things. Actually, my father had a farm, and I have chased the cow down the street who knew
Oh
that she
yeah,
was trying to make a getaway. And as far as PETA goes, about 2 weeks ago, I actually put an emergency call into them. Several states have rules that you cannot kill a snapper turtle. Now, years
right,
ago, there's been many myths about them that they
right.
would bite your hand off and whatever. But the
Hmm.
truth of the matter is, they actually clean the waterways by eating
Sure.
carrion and snakes and different kind of
Hmm.
moss larvae and things like that. And of the 6 or 7 states that prohibit that, killing
Well,
them, hunting
they're
them,
very endangered in a lot of places. This thing is a
yeah,
living
and
dinosaur.
well, Pennsylvania is not one of those states that protect them.
Hmm.
So we were having a meeting, and somebody's been hunting them. I mean, big ones, and from our lake. And the lake has the community could stop that, and I
Right.
tried to get them to stop it, but to no avail. So I called PETA, and I asked them if I could have a representative come down and talk about how these turtles clean our waters, help them make them fresh, get rid of the carrion, and actually eat mosquito larvae and of the like. And
Right.
PETA refused to come down. They refused to give me any literature, and they didn't bother calling me back. So I
Uh,
think the trick is, if you're endangered and you're one of the good animals that our society thinks and your state picks, then it's okay. But yeah,
right.
PETA is not on my love list.
No.
However,
Go ahead.
they were a couple years ago. I went to a carnival, and they were
Sure.
I what I thought were abusing the elephants. I called them, and they did picket it. So
Well, it's one of those things. A lot of people don't realize the stuff that's gone on behind it, and I know a lot of people who are small farmers who are very concerned about it because they don't realize a lot of people who raise beef for themselves or lamb or pig. That's like what they eat, and the fact is they raise it clean. They give it better food than most of the animal food we give to the cows that go through the mass production thing. So I don't know. I've eaten fresh steaks, fresh hog, chops and things like that, and I love it. Tastes better than almost anything you can buy. It's just cleaner food. But
yeah, but right
anyway,
now we have a problem, Neil. Right now they're putting hormones into the cattle, which is
right,
well, you know that I'm very environmentally conscious. I
of
guess since
course.
we've been friends. To
Hmm.
that end, let's give a shout. I'd like to give a shout out to our friends there and our extended family that we have there, and tell everybody hi and thanks for watching us today. But seriously, that's one of my pet peeves too, is that they're not doing anything to protect our animals. Thank you for
Well,
talking about that.
I found it interesting. I knew you guys were big fans of the animals, and I've always respected that. You can always tell a lot about a person how they treat an animal. Or have you ever gone out to dinner with one of those people who always sends their food back? That's just one of those
I
pet.
have. It's horrible. It's horrible.
It's like there's always one person who does it every time. And I once had this, and I won't say it because I love the guy to death, but he was over there across from me whining, and his two sons were running amok, and it was just like insanity. And then after all this pandemonium and kids running amok, and Uncle Neil took one of them outside and laid on his ass and told him to tighten up. And I'm not talking like I beat him up. I just gave him a little pop because he kept running around screaming at the top of his lungs. And like my kids are sitting there looking at me going, I'm surprised Dad hasn't like taken him
Yeah,
outside
like
yet.
do something.
Which I'm looking at the father going, "Ugh." I'm like,
Well,
man,
yeah.
all I'd have to have done if that kid was running around. My children are really well behaved, and they're not perfect kids. They're perfect to me. I'll say that. And they both, if I'd have looked at them and just given them the look, they would have both been like, "Oops." They give me the look. I got it, Dad, and that would be it. And it's not because I beat them. I just taught them what no means, which we all need to learn. It's the first word that if you
Yeah.
learn when somebody tells you no, you'll save yourself a lot of hassle. Especially if you're
Absolutely.
I don't know,
Absolutely.
but
Mandy, are you an animal person also?
The way I would look at it is like I don't have pets, all right? I'm allergic to a lot of animals. So I don't
uh,
have the like bonds that people have to like pet animals. But
right,
I am
right,
pro nature in all forms. You
yeah,
know.
Yeah.
me
I
too.
know Neil has cats too.
I do.
Yeah.
I have my cats, and I'm really surprised they're not in here. I have my older cat usually comes down and decides this is the time that she needs her back scratched. It's every time I'm doing the show, and sometimes she'll be sitting to the right, and I'll reach down like this, and the cat is going. And sometimes you can hear it. People are like, "What is that noise in the background?" I'm like, "My cat's sitting here," and I'm like, "Put your ass down, okay? I don't want to see that end of you." I don't know why some cats they just come up to you and they're like, "Here, you want to see my ass?" It's like, get off my get off my chest, you sorry bastard. Anyway, they woke me up this morning. Oh, look at this sweet kitty. Meow. Hey, kitty.
There's my rescue. That's
Oh, sweet girl.
Nice.
All
she's not
right.
that sweet all the time.
Well, yeah.
She's
Yeah. A first on the
always
Live with
close
Neves
though.
show. Animal prey interaction as Brenda gets mauled by a rescue cat. Live with Neves.
No.
Quick, hold that camera. If it bleeds, it
Uh,
leads. So, we've got about 4 minutes, so we'll go through the kind of topical things. Tell me about your show. Just tell us a little bit, and Mandy, feel free to chime in. Any questions? We're here lurking in the
Awesome.
shadows, and tell
Nice.
us a
okay.
little bit about your show.
Well, the Brenda B show started during COVID.
Hmm.
Actually, I had been a promoter for a couple of years before that for my fundraising functions. Like every year for now it's like 12, 13 years, I had a VA fundraiser and we would have to hire a band. So
Hmm.
they wanted two, three, four, $5,000. So
Right.
Deems was in the band already. And I said, Deems, I want you to start a band for me. And he said, what? And I said, I want to start our own band for the fundraising. So with Deems and a lot of fine musicians, we started a band that we used for fundraising. And then the whole world changed. Everything just popped and we went into COVID. But during this time, I had a artist that worked for Banner Records who actually wanted me to promote him. So at
Hmm.
that time, I had joined forces with Banner and Michael Anthony, which I'm not allowed to talk about today, John Anthony, because I'm not allowed to talk about that today because he doesn't want the two worlds mixed. But anyway, we started. COVID went. We had nothing to do. We were both writers and composers, and we both decided that we were going to write our stuff and we were going to have a show. And I wanted to gear it towards my. She was three then, wasn't she?
Oh, yeah.
My 3-year-old niece. And I got that cat hair in my face that doesn't pay to pick up a cat during an interview. But
Okay.
anyway,
Oh.
we started the Brenda B show, and we went through a lot of different gyrations. And fortunately, I met people all over the world, wonderful artists, and we
Hmm.
became part of the Erasmus Stars talent. And they played our song all over, right, Deems?
Oh, yeah.
Pay attention.
All over.
That's
All
great.
over.
Is that? Did you have your video Let's Party? Did they were they the band that helped with that project or the same
No,
guys and girls?
that no band. We actually had a London composer who was in part of the Erasmus Stars that were performing with at that time
Right.
via stream, and Sir Rustin Molina,
Mm-hmm.
and he wrote that for us.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
there's nothing else but the two of us singing in the living room.
Okay. Well, that's all right. That works. So I'll tell you what. Why don't we? We're going to go to a break real quick. When we come back, let's listen to the song and have some fun. I'm looking
All right,
forward to hearing.
sounds good.
All right, everybody. Let's see what we're going to try and sell for you. And remember, peeps, we live by donations and tips. So if you spare us some change, cup of coffee, whatever, we're here. But yeah, we're here anyway. So don't worry about it if you don't.
Hey there, it's Kevin Sorbo here, and you lucky, lucky, lucky people, you are live. You're live with Nev or Neve or Nevi. I don't know. I can't say the dude's name. Anyway, you're on live with him, so I don't know. I guess that's a pretty good thing.
Hey everybody, this is Steve from Reach for the Sky, along with Jay from Reach for the Sky. And you're listening live with me.
All right. So we're back, and we have Brenda B, and we have Deems Palmer, and we're trying to get there we are. We're back. So we're going to play this song. You had somebody who wrote it and produced it or did it for you. So everybody, we've got Brenda and Deems, and we're going to bring up some music. So stand by. We'll add that to the stream. Put it up front and center. And here we go, folks. Some good music from Brenda B and Deems.
that was done in our living room. Actually, Deems changed the composure a little bit in some of the words, but we sat in the front room. We put the video together, and then we did that. And I'll tell you, we actually had some royalties on it from overseas. Are we back? Can you hear me? I don't think he hears me. I can't hear him.
Lost him for a minute.
Neil? I don't know if you can hear me, but I can't hear you. They're talking, Deems.
I can't. We lost him again.
There we go.
All
Check.
right. I was.
It's all good
Can
in
you
there.
hear us?
I hear you. Oh,
You can-
okay.
I was saying that we changed the composure a little bit and a couple of the words and changed it around. And we did it in our living room. But the miracle of it all is we had gotten royalties on it from overseas. They liked it.
good for you. Hey, it's a nice song, and you never can tell what's going to be something that makes people happy.
Yeah.
You just never know.
I know. Well, you make me smile with some of your witticisms. You're kind of funny.
It's looks aren't everything, people. What can I tell you?
Oh,
I mean, really. So no. So what's next for you guys? Like, do you have any plans?
I have actually,
Going.
I have a song right now that I sent over to the record label, but he was supposed to compose it for me, but he hasn't done that yet. And I also have a song right now that's with Jason Brian Vergalia, from Australia, and he has the lyrics, and he's working on a composer over there for that.
Great.
Now. Just get in the studio.
Well, I'd love to have him on sometime. We have a lot of fans in Australia. It might be helpful. Believe it or
You
not.
would really like him.
Yeah.
What was the group he was with?
We was with the
Platters?
The Drifters.
Drifters.
He was with the Drifters.
He was with the Australian Drifters.
Okay.
And the same composer had written some cute songs for him as well. So
Great.
It was a different time during COVID for us. It was an innocent time where we wrote silly little songs and spent time composing during the many losses that we had during that time. Well,
Absolutely.
And, did you do? When did you start your show? We started right during the beginning of COVID. Did you start then too, Neil?
I started the show in May. It'll be coming on 5 years next May.
Yeah. How many we have?
This
is our fourth?
Yeah.
No, you started way before us then.
Well, but you got to remember the first year of the show, I don't really consider 0 hour. It was me learning how to do this and fumbling and having a lot of fun with it. But it's amazing how I used to, every time something would go wrong, I would panic and freak. I'd be like, oh my God, what the hell is going on? You could look in the camera, I'd be like, the look of fear, and I'd be sweating and getting all worked up. And I've come to realize since then that, you're doing a show, it's live. So, like, if you bring animals on the set, we could have problems. The Wolverine might decide to attack me, while we're doing the show. Now, that has some entertainment value. People do. God, Neil got mauled by a Wolverine today on the show. You had to see it. You could see that. That would be entertaining. I mean, the reason I say that is I saw a photo shoot a few weeks ago, and there's a guy holding a Wolverine. And I don't know if people out there are really familiar. They know the movie Wolverine. No, this thing is like 80 pounds of Samoan dynamite. I mean, it bites, it claws, and it'll take down, a bear will go up and see this thing and go, there's easier ways to eat. I just don't want to mess with it. So here's this guy, apparently he raised it from a cub, which I think is great, because I admit it, if I had the right house and I live in an apartment, I'd have a Wolverine if I could. That'd be just great, man. Riding down the street with the thing in my car, growling at people. It'd be like great security. And every time I go to the gig, I could walk it in. It'd be better than security. I got an 8-foot bouncer, but got a Wolverine on a leash. If anybody gets feisty, we just throw it at you, you know. Ah! But I don't know. I found it interesting that some guy is sitting there holding the thing, petting it, and it was acting like a small dog. It was my mind was completely blown because I got to tell you, I'd be afraid of the damn thing. I don't. I love animals, and I'm not afraid. I've rescued animals and at risk to my hands and stuff, and I don't know. The Wolverine wouldn't be the first on my list to go and try and put in the little box to bring it to the vet or the authorities.
Now, I have
I'd
to
be
tell
like,
you, I turned down a lizard, a big lizard, and when I rescued with Fiona, well, actually, I took her took her in to find a home for.
uh-oh.
We had a lizard as well, and Fiona was in a bedroom and the bathroom with a tiny little bathroom with this lizard, and I swear that's why she has these weird lizard eyes because she was in the room with that lizard. And the lady, I wouldn't take the lizard. I don't know. Do they bite?
It depends what kind, but some of them will bite the hell out of you.
Yeah.
Deems, you look like you've had experience with one of those things chomping down on you, man.
I had tropical birds, and they're probably even worse. I had a cockatoo that hated everybody except like
I
me.
bet. You know what? I've been around large parrots, Amazons, and there's a picture of my band, the Shake Society. We're standing on the front of the Tampa University. It's got the onion domes, for those of you who know Tampa. Beautiful old, it looks like downtown Moscow, or, you know, it's just got the onion domes and all that. In fact, my parents owned a restaurant across from it called the Onion Cafe, just because of the domes on the minarets, rather, of the building. But great school. I'm sorry I got sidetracked. I have a mind like a steel trap, man. Shiny objects, go chasing it down the road. It's like if I was a dog, I'd probably see a car go by and get my head run over. You know, gunk, gunk. But
You know what? I've got to get there to visit you guys and see Nancy
absolutely.
and Charles and everybody and Paul. You know, just to see the gang. How is everybody doing there?
Here, we're always fantastic, even when we're not. I have to tell you, you know, I look forward to Friday. I hate it when I have to not do a show because I don't have a guest, or like I have to call Mandy and go, oh, we don't have a really good guest, so I'm gonna have to run a rerun. And a lot of times, like today when I woke up, I went, oh shit, I've got like 28 minutes. And hey, Gina, how you doing, babe? Hey, we've got our Los Angeles contingent filing in. Oh, now my iWatch is trying to figure out. I don't know how to respond to that. Oh shit! I've got like 28 minutes. It's now responding to me.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll try to get Jason Brian Bergalia to go on the show.
Love to have him.
But if we do, we got to keep it calm a little bit. He's a very devout Christian. I don't want to upset him.
Don't worry. Give him 10. Give him a. I'll tell you what. Once I get him over here, that's the last Australian I brought to Asbury Park in New York. We're gonna take him through Neil's training course.
Hey, you think we could ever get Paul Charles up there with us?
Oh, absolutely. I just went with Paul out to Long Island Wednesday of this week to got a quick tour of his old stomping ground, so to speak. We had a great day, but we left at like 9:30 in the morning, and we didn't get home till about 10 o'clock. The day was nuts, not including the 3 hours of bumper to bumper out the Long Island Expressway. It was just that. I love New York. I love this area, but God Almighty, I want my flying car. So if I have to go to Long Island, I can go right across the strait here and go right on out to Montauk. From my house, it'd be 20 minutes in a small, you know, electric car or flying car or whatever. I've been waiting for this shit since I was 4 and the Jetsons had them, and I will not.
I'll tell you what, Neil, we've definitely got to try to get Paul together and jam with him if he would just do it. What is that song he has that's so cool? I think he wrote it.
He's got a couple he wrote. One of them is Tequila Sheila, which is a great song. It's a great song. He has several that are really good. The guy's got scads of talent, and I just have to say, Paul, you're the best, man. those of you who don't know,
Yes.
Paul and I met at the Warren ZCon convention in Connecticut, and I was part of the group that put it together. And so I had gotten a big table for myself and for anybody else that I wanted to have come over and pay fealty. Now, we were hanging out, and it turned out to be such a great evening. First thing that happens is some guy walks up to us. My girlfriend and I are sitting there, and he goes, "Hey, I'd like to give you guys $100. We can take a picture." I said, "Hey, easy there, boy. What kind of picture are you talking about, you sick freak?" And he said, "Well, you guys look like our preferred clientele." And I said, "Oh, you don't know me yet." Anyhow, they took a picture and gave us $150 gift card for
Wow.
dinner. It
Well,
was awesome.
you know how I met Paul when I was at doing a wine thing, and somebody was there like Nancy Griffin or somebody that I like to follow, and I met Paul, and then that was when Karen Arias and Steven came over from
Oh,
Australia
right.
to cut their album in New York, and they stayed at my house, and that was
Oh, did
probably
they?
one of the best times.
Yeah, I really like Steve a lot. Do you know that he has twins now?
No, get out. I heard he was doing voiceovers for Disney.
He's been doing a lot of voiceovers and cool stuff, but he also, him and his girlfriend who came to the States with her, no longer.
Karen.
So he got married. Yeah, Karen, she was pregnant with his kid and ended up meeting some other guy. I don't know. Stranger things have happened. I've had all kinds of weird relationship stuff happen, but that's a new one by me, I can say. At any rate,
They
they're
got their
great
album
folks.
though, right?
Yeah,
They did.
the album's done, and I know
They,
he's still working on a lot of stuff, but with twins and having to deal with that, he's got his hands full. So, I hope to
well,
see him as soon as he can. We'd love to have him come back.
he's a talented guitarist. I think he's probably one of the best. When we were gigging together, he was like laying down on the floor and playing, like amazing, just totally
Yeah,
amazing artist.
he's a really talented guy, and he's got a great attitude. And I felt bad for him. It's nothing. No man or woman wants to hear somebody tell you, I'm just not that into you, and it's over. It's such a horrible. Even having to do it, even if you want to leave somebody, it's just such an awful
Hey,
feeling
hey,
when you
hey,
realize.
hey! Karen's my friend.
Oh, we love her
My
anyway. I
friend.
don't care. Oh no, listen. She's my friend too, and I have
Love
nothing
her.
bad to say about it. That kind of shit happens, and people who get all.
Yeah, it's
I don't let it bug me. It's part of life, man.
it's in
Move
the
on.
music world. It's in the
It
music
is.
world.
You.
One
It's.
of the things that we do on our show is we talk about artists.
Hmm.
Which one's my favorite? Is the most outrageous? Who was that? Which one? We talk about the outrageous artists that they have sometimes. Who was the one that had the girlfriend behind the house and everything?
He had a girlfriend
Anyway,
behind the house. Was she in a burlap sack or what? What?
no. He had the wife in the front and the girlfriend in the back. It was really cool. And
Wait. Well, hold on. He had the wife
the
in
wife
his
in the
house.
front and the girlfriend in the back, and it was just a really cool story, And I just love some of the musicians' lives to talk about that.
I need clarity here. So, I mean, I've done some crazy and really.
We really got to be careful what we talk about and what names we use.
Oh well, I've already forgotten the name, but I want to call the guy up and ask him how he pulled that one off.
I think he's dead now. I think
Man,
he's dead now. I don't know if the wife killed him or the girlfriend, but he's deceased.
one of them killed him.
No, seriously. But
Okay. That's good.
It's quite an interesting business that we have here, and a profession, a world. I call it the music world.
I just don't even know what I call it. I call it it's such an interesting and crazy business that at times it is a business, because if you don't have someone who is a business person, it's just the band's going to drift. You have to have somebody who's an absolute pain in the ass to club owners, knows how to call them repeatedly without getting them annoyed. Um, I'm not above bribery. Whatever works, man. You go in there and the guy wants to drop off a couple of sheep on Friday night. Well, I'll ask him, what time do you need the truck? We'll have it over there about 11:30, right after closing.
Well, I'm actually in a different world now with working with this particular artist that I'm working with now. So it's more organized, orchestrated. It's set goals and certain places we're putting her. We're not putting her in Joe's bar. We're doing concerts with her, and right now we're
Right.
doing the national anthem series. So
Right.
it's a different world, but I still miss our world.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Sitting
And
around
how long is your other artist in the States?
Well, it looks like it's going to be forever, but the label refuses to have me talk about her at the same time I'm promoting my own business, my own show. So
Oh,
they have
well.
given me pure and simple rules. Do not talk about
Yes,
your
the
other
artist
job.
who known as the artist from now on, just like Prince. We're gonna get a little symbol for her. I'll
Yeah.
draw it. You'll like it. I think she's lovely.
She's gorgeous.
Yes, she
Absolutely
is.
gorgeous. Mandy, are you part of this crazy world of music and doing gigs with your friends in the living room and making songs out in the backyard? No?
Oh, where'd she go? Hold on. Let me get.
Oh, is that it? Oh, am I back now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
now you
back.
got me. Yes, I'm part of the crazy music world for sure. I've been there for a while. And currently my
Man,
band's name is Twisted Ginger. We play all sorts of rock. Yeah.
So you hang out in the living room with your friends and just play and dance and compose and stuff.
When it's funny, like right now I live kind of an introverted life. Like, when I was like living with my college friends, it was way more communal like that. Now it's like I'm out gigging with my friends, It's like you're out, you're just in the but it's not so much like I haven't been in a creative realm so much lately. Every now and then I'll get tracks from my friends and I'll go into my home studio, do my own little thing, but it's not as communal. That's really nice that you guys have each other to do that with.
Well, so it's not always fun.
I've never seen you or Deems ever have a moment of friction.
You mean when don't we?
Yeah, right, right.
He's very critical, and he is. Let me talk about Deems. Deems has been in the music business over 40 years. He was with Bandstand. It was one of the first cover bands that played in the casinos in Atlantic City, the casinos in Atlantic City. He's played and he's met some of the biggest artists out there, and he's a talented boss. I got just to aggravate him. Bass. He's played basses.
Remember, the first three words of bass or bastard are BAS.
I do that on purpose.
Bastard. Hey, you bastard.
This guy can sing AC/DC just as good as anybody.
I love it.
My favorite song to sing is Witchy Woman.
Witchy Woman, all right. I used to date her.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, I know her very well. She had a bunch of rings and potions and all kinds of stuff. And animals running around. I'll tell you what, it's a whole nother story. It gets late.
Neil, did you ever sing? Did you ever sing too?
Oh, yeah, I sing all the time. I am a singing drummer. In fact, one of the ads we played is me singing a cover of, oh gosh, what's his name? First Leonard Cohen song that we remade, and it's kind of done, but my friend passed away, JR, who was working on it with me, and I just shelved it for a while because it was so weird. It's been 2 years since he passed. Thank you, and just didn't have it's just too weird working on it. You know, him and I kind of birthed this thing, starting with a click track, and him and I in the studio. He played the piano track as a scratch track, which then I played the drums over it, brought in the rest of the team, bass, overdubbed everything. And once we had the song together, I got JR and I were doing the Steely Dan thing, and I was torching guitar players. I had a roving collection of them, and I didn't tell any of them at the time, but I had a plan, and I was going to use them all in certain parts because one guy had a great intro, but his middle section I didn't really care for, and the guitar players were getting annoyed because JR and I were doing the Donald Fagen, Walter Becker. Let's see if it can play in G, and then at the end of it, I wanted to bring it up to 16th notes. And the guy'd be in there going, "He just asked me to do that 10 minutes ago, didn't he?" And it'd be like, "No, this is a key up. We're going to try it anyway." We tormented them, and I like doing that because to get the best out of people sometimes. And the people I hired are the kind of guys that I hire because they're such good players that even though I give them an idea of what to play, I know that it would be like me saying I'm going to play the lead guitar part on the new Dweezil Zap album. It just wouldn't be happening. I stick to my bailiwick. I can do a little songwriter guitar,
Yeah,
like
you
if
stay
a
in your
songwriter
lane. Yeah.
but I stay in my lane, and I really the world. I know, like I never had. I've taken lessons and done a lot of things in my life to learn, but I've been playing in studios and recording shit since I was like 8 years old, and I once got one hell of a whipping because my father at the time, my stepfather, had all these reels of Scotch tape, and they had recordings from these medical lectures and events he'd given speeches at. So I find a reel-to-reel, a box of like 100 reel-to-reel tapes, and I've two microphones. I set it up. Next time my band was over, I'm like, "Wow, we're off to the races. We're going to be rock stars." And still at it.
Oh, that's
I'm
really
not
cool.
sure
Nice.
what
So
you're
when you
asking,
were
Rick.
when you were with the Blue Men, did you sing?
No, no, not at all. No,
You
I
just
was just a
hung out
drummer.
and had a lot of dye on you?
No, I was up in the cage part of it, so I really didn't get splattered much. I just got up there, did my little thing, and left. But one of the best times of my life, in many ways. But life's one of those things. It was great at the time. I was probably one of the oldest guys they've ever hired because usually the average age of the cast was in their 30s, and I was a 40-year-old guy. But they were having these cattle call auditions, which is just horrendous. And I had a leg up because I'd already been offered a gig in Vegas, which I turned down 2 years prior because my girls were they're still in high school. And so I was trying to get them to go to college, and then I'd be going back and working in Germany. And it just so happened that I came back and got my wife pregnant with our son, who's now a 6'4" hot dog pack eating lummox who's like huge and smart and a great kid. So even though I've sent her to other domains, you know, you do things. When you're 40, every guy should marry a 23-year-old. And if you're smart, just
You
don't
and your
marry her.
relationship advice. Fake
Yeah,
Well,
news.
do not follow my path. I'm not the first guy who thought with the small brain instead of the large brain.
there's so many
Um,
musicians that have married younger women out there today.
yeah, I'm not the first guy who turned into a massive drool, and just like it was like she was working. My former co-host was working on a record, Julie Bruno, and one night she asked me if she could bring over the girl who was going to do the artwork on her painting. And some will tell you that over the years, my dating pool seems to have a larger than normal collection of musicians, singers, and artistic women because I'm a sucker for it. I love women that are talented, and I'm just hell. I was just a dog, It was just fun, and I like chicks who are interesting, and an artist or a writer is the closest thing to having somebody who's in the music biz. I suggest to all people out there, if you're going to get married and you have a long-term relationship, a lot of times you may not want to marry a civilian. It just depends. If you find the right civilian and they can put up with you and the things that go along with life, as a musician, You know, it's hard. And so I say to a lot of people, man, consider staying in your group because, but you know, in the case of my girlfriend, she likes me for a lot of other reasons rather than my music. So, which is good because God forbid if somebody just loves you because you're a drummer. I can't tell you how many times I'd have somebody in the bar come up, some chick who's got like some drummer's tattooed, like a jail tattoo on her arm that says "I love this drummer" or some crap, and I'm like kind of icky. And I'm like, just because you slept with the last four schleps that came in here, I kind of I don't know about you, honey. Just like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm a nice guy, but Jesus Christ. I don't know. It's
Hey,
just,
how did we meet anyway, Neil?
what was that?
How did we meet anyway?
How did I meet?
How
Uh,
did we meet anyway?
we met through Paul. You were putting a band together at the time. And at the time, I was just getting this crazy mess of a show going. And I think we were talking about perhaps I was going to play some drums for you guys.
Oh yes.
And the problem was we live on opposite ends of the world, so it's hard to get a a rehearsal going on a regular basis. But you know, I'm always around, and I'm a quick study. You know, I ran Dial-A-Drummer for 5 years, which
What
was
is
really
that?
Dial-A-Drummer was a service in Tampa that if you had a band and your gig, and say an hour before the gig, your drummer calls to tell you his girlfriend tried to stab him in the face with a cooking fork, and now they're both in jail. Or one call I got, my friend calls and says my drummer got arrested for DUI and he's going to be in jail for 6 weeks. Would you mind playing our gig? And so basically the way it worked is I charged an exorbitant amount of money. You'd call me, and if I could get there within, an hour or 2 hours, I would be there ready to play. I'd hop in my car, and back then you have to remember it wasn't like we had YouTube and all this other stuff to learn songs. I'd tell them to fax me your song list. I'd look at the song list. I'd first off scratch off all the songs that I had no problem playing, and then I'd hope that they didn't have 20 songs that were like some long drawn out Yes song that's half a side of a record. But most of the time they'd call me. They'd say, we've got a top 40 band. We play, a lot of funk, a lot of this. And I'd be like, I'll be there, no problem. The problem was I felt like an animal at times because one gig, they owed me $200. They called me an hour before the show to be like in St. Petersburg, Florida, an hour and a half drive. And I was charging them $200 for the first hour and $100 per additional. It's a lot of money. Unfortunately, I didn't know what the band was getting paid. And when they were paying everybody, I'm like looking, and the two of the guys were just like getting $20 a piece. And I kind of felt bad for them. So I adjusted my fee so that everybody in their band made $50 because I am a money driven guy. We've all got to eat, but at the same time, I just felt like such a schmuck taking like their whole night's pay to sit there. Now, on the other side of the coin, I had to drive there, play 40 songs or 60 tunes I've never heard sometimes. And you want to talk about pressure? That's the best. I love doing those gigs because I'm flying by the seat of my pants, and I'm right there on the edge of complete disaster. It's like driving a Ducati around the side of a mountain, sliding, and you're right a foot from the edge, but you're drifting, so you roll with it. And that's the way it was. Very exciting. I had one guy from Sly and the Family Stones band I worked with. Oh my God, he was the most difficult guy. And that was the only time out of at least 150 gigs that I ever had a real personality problem with somebody. And this guy was a schmuck. And I just told him at the end of the gig, I said, man, I don't care. I don't care who you played with, Sly and the Family Stone. In fact, instead of $150 you're paying me, you could give me $500. I wouldn't come back and play with you if you're the last fucking band on earth. He's like,
Neil,
but
Neil, wait a minute. Excuse me. Do you have any connections with Earth, Wind, and Fire? I'd love to have this artist I have open for them. I mean, she would just.
I really don't. I have a friend of mine who had some contacts with Maurice White, but I don't know, to be honest. I'd have to. You know what? I'll make some phone calls and ask around, and maybe I can hook you up with
That
the
would be great.
promoter or something like that.
I would love it because she would be great with them. But back to your music with the pay and for the bands. I had similar thing happen to me. We had put the band together. It was like the whole thing was good to go. We had the show set. We go to the venue, and I had made all the arrangements through the manager. Everything was signed, sealed, and delivered. We get there, and again, the drummer, the venue said they weren't going to pay us for going. That they weren't going to pay us our cut or whatever. And they were just letting us have the fundraiser there. And I said, no way. You offered me this, that, and that, and paying my band. And so I said to the band, I said, I'll pay you myself. I said, because it was a fundraiser, right?
Right.
My drummer would not go. Remember that? He said, no, I will not take your money. They're going to pay us like they said they were. Well, the guy was a jerk. I didn't know what to do. I mean, I was ready to pay them myself. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And tell him.
Send the drummer in.
It was terrible.
It was terrible. And I had everything legally done through email, but they don't really want to pay. You know, they sometimes with what it kills me. Anyway,
I love it when a club owner, when they say, "Oh, we're going to get you exposure." I'm like, exposure doesn't pay for my electric bill. I'm sorry, exposure bucks don't pay. Not doing it.
I think I threatened him within an inch of his life. We did have our band paid, but it was just so frustrating that a lot of people do not realize how hard it is for us to maintain the talent, for the practices, for the rehearsals, for the voice lessons. And then they want to, like, I can't believe they were paying the guys $20. I mean, that is the worst.
Well, I saw a lot of that, and I would still, if I make a contract and we sign it and I'm going to come down, interrupt my dinner with my kids to drive and then not be home till 2 a.m, I'm going to make some money. And, it was like, this isn't, I didn't do this as a child. I did it as a child to get to the point. Now, hey, Terry, how you doing, babe? Great to see you. Very nice. Well, listen, guys, we're here. We've gone over time, which I love because we're having fun talking, and you guys are always great. I love you too, and thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Mandy, nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you too.
Thanks for having us here today.
Always, you're always welcome, and keep us in touch. I'll call you over the weekend. We'll talk about the other stuff that we can't talk about.
I'll get in touch with Brian, and I have another artist that would be great for your show.
Great. So, well, thank you very much.
Thank you, and don't forget, I want Earth, Wind, and Fire. Okay.
I will. I'm going to make a few phone calls. We'll see if I can get you their booking agent at least, and if I can get any personal, I will see what I can do. All right, people, we're out of here. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye bye.